What's up, fanboys and fangirls? Welcome to another Review Point podcast coming to you from fanboysanonymous.com, of course. I'm your host, as always, Tony Mango. Joining me is Robert DeFelice.
Tony, we have made history this year as this is the first year in the 3 years that I've been working with you that we have done more Fanboys podcasts this year than Smart Guy Moment podcasts.
At this point, probably, yeah. We've been recording quite a bit, which is awesome. I love doing these things. I want to do more. I want to do more Batman. I want to do more Bond. I want to do more everything. Why not?
Yeah, spoiler alert, I want to do more Batman. Maybe not this one.
Spoiler alert, we want to do more Batman. We want to see more Batman. It's you know, we're going to get into that because today what we are reviewing is the latest in the line of not connected anymore. They weren't connected, some of them in the past, but some of them were. It's kind of confusing. Then again, continuity these days in every medium is just sort of out there, but particularly in DC. The latest in the animated films, which is Batman Soul of the Dragon, which came out about like 24 hours ago, kind of around this point. We got a chance to watch it. We were thinking about doing a fan tracks for it, like a first impressions, like we did with the Superman Man of Tomorrow. But we decided that, let's do a review point because we're gonna do another fan tracks later on this month with Mulan. Thank you to Guest 5, by the way, for sponsoring that on Patreon. If you want to make sure that we do more stuff like this and you do want more fan track stuff, remember, there always is the Pick Your Poison tier on Patreon. So if you've got the spare change and you want to fund one of those, you can directly fund one of them through that tier. And if not, if you just want to toss, whatever you got our way, or you help us in the monetary sense in that fashion, check out the Patreon for that stuff. You've got the merchandise shops, not merchandise. It's not just March. Merchandise shops,
when it's
TeePublic.
March, I'm gonna call it the merchandise shops.
I was for Smart Out Moment, I was calling it the Smarket Place for a while.
I like that.
No, I can't think of any puns for fanboys though. But there's TeePublic, there's Redbubble. Check them out. Pick up a T-shirt or something if you're interested. Just browse the catalog, see what you're interested in. And obviously, just to get plugs out of the way, you should be subscribing and following us all over the place. If you are on the YouTube side of things in particular, hit the subscribe button, ring the little notification bell, hit the like button, hit the share button, and drop a comment below. Just talking all over the place today.
Words?
I don't think I do, especially when it comes to pronouncing something a little bit later on. We're going to talk about that. But yeah, Batman Soul of the Dragon. I was really looking forward to this. I thought that this looked really cool. There's a lot of it that is really cool. But there's a lot of it that...
Yes.
Yeah, I wouldn't say I hate a lot of it, but I really don't like a lot of it. It's a mixed bag for sure.
Yeah, kiddos. It's the first one I'm really not feeling.
There's been plenty that I haven't really loved all that much, like Superman versus the Elite, I think was one of them. I'm blanking on some of them because a lot of them just blur together. I remember, for instance, I really liked Public Enemies. I didn't really like the one with Supergirl and Darkseid all that much. But
there's nothing with the name Bruce Wayne on it that I haven't out and out loved. This might be the first.
Well, it is a Bruce Wayne film.
It really is a Bruce Wayne film. This movie should have been called Bruce Wayne and the Funky Bunch. Okay?
Yeah. I mean, it really should have been called Richard Dragon.
It should have been called Richard Dragon and the Funky Bunch. No, I'm not dropping that Funky Bunch because this took place in the 70s and they did not let you forget.
Yeah, this is odd. And for part of that reason, I was like, oh, that's going to be cool because they're going to do something totally different. It's going to be all, this like the kind of music and all that. I'm like, that'd be kind of fun. I'm not a big fan of like, let's put something in an era because it would be interesting to put it in an era. Like we talked about this with Wonder Woman 84. You just say it's Wonder Woman in 1984. Isn't that neat? And I go, no. And the X-Men movies. Well, what if we did it in the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, and the 90s? Well, what if you had the characters age properly? How about that? And like kept some continuity. But I thought, for a one shot, animated series, kind of, animated series, animated film, that this could be kind of fun. And there are fun parts of it that are like that. But I ultimately, after a while, I was just like, you know what? I really didn't need this. Like,
Like this movie taking place in the 70s ultimately to me was fine because it's a one shot that I don't know if I really want to revisit.
I'm not going to. I know that.
I probably won't. I mean, you never know. Maybe I'll get bored, but hey, there are much better Batman animated films on HBO Max. Um, yeah, this film really disturbed me. First of all, there's no Alfred.
Yeah, not a single trace of Alfred whatsoever.
Second of all, there's no fucking Batcave.
Yep.
Third of all, they all know it's fucking Bruce, and like this movie really reaffirmed to me that like I don't need people knowing who the fuck Batman is, right? Because a lot of mediums lately where people know that Batman is Bruce, they're just like, ooh, boo-hoo, you're just a little bitch crying out for mommy and daddy. It's like, all right, if that's the best you can do, then I really don't need you exposing this man's identity. Like, this should be sacred.
See, that doesn't bother me too much if they don't make it kind of annoying. Like, I do think that it is a little bit weird that eventually, when people know that it's Bruce, they do tend to have that kind of a line, and should only work for a couple people. Like, I do like the part in Return of the Joker
Yep.
where he's like, oh, it would be funny if it wasn't so pathetic. I'll laugh anyway because it's the Joker. But it shouldn't just be like normal other people. And I don't this one of the biggest criticisms I have about this whole movie is they did this with, oh god, what was it called? The one with Constantine in it. Might have just been Justice League
Uh,
Dark, but
well, it depends. Well, which one with Constantine? The one that he first shows up, or the one that, or Dark? Because he was in, what was it called?
it was something where it was like Batman and something or whatever, and it was like you just threw the Batman name on here. I'm gonna try to look up the list of these different
I
movies.
know exactly what it is, and you're gonna say it, and I'm gonna go, yep. It was released, I think, in 2015 or 2016.
So let's see. There's Batman Ninja, which I wasn't really into. Batman versus Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, which was great.
Go check that out in the archives.
Batman Strange Days. I don't remember what that one
I think it might
was.
have been a Justice League film.
It might have been that. It might have been Justice League Dark then.
No, no, it was uh Justice League versus somebody, or was it versus Teen Titans? It couldn't have been.
Whatever it was, there was like some movie where they were just sort of like, "Hey, this is like a Batman thing," and he's really just like the fifth supporting character. So I wasn't really into that, and this one was very much like that. This is a Richard Dragon film that they couldn't market as Richard Dragon because nobody would pay attention to it. And I don't know the Richard Dragon character too well. Like, I'm very vaguely familiar. All
Oh
I
yeah,
really know is he's
it was Dark. Dark was released in 17, and it
so
was
was that
Dark.
one then, yeah. And Dragon is a character to me, kind of like Shang-Chi in Marvel, where I'm like, all right, they wanted a Bruce Lee.
You might, if really, if you'd have called them Bruce Lee, I would not have been offended. They were clearly going for Bruce Lee.
And I'm not remembering for sure if he's the same as Karate Kid. I don't think that he is though. But there's a character in DC called Karate Kid. Let me double check about that. I don't think that they no, okay, they're not. Um so that's a different whole story. But Richard Dragon wouldn't sell me on one of these movies, but I would watch a Richard Dragon thing. Like if somebody just said, "Hey, look at that. They got like a Richard Dragon story." I'd be like, "Well, it's DC. I'll check it out." Like just as I'm going to check out Shang-Chi. And when you say you've got Richard Dragon and Batman and Bronze Tiger and Lady Shiva and Cheshire, in a movie, I'm like, all right, cool. Like, we're gonna get this like the Kung Fu band kind of thing. And the movie ends up being this weird, like, I'll spoil this. I absolutely hated the ending.
I agree 100%.
And that retroactively made me dislike more about the movie because then I
I
went, okay, you joked around too fucking much. And they had fun with a lot of this, and I was having fun with some good parts. But then by the end of the film, I felt really hollow.
Yeah, because they're not gonna follow this up. What the fuck didn't you just wrap it up for?
Right. But they start
Spoiler
off,
alert, they didn't wrap it up.
yeah, they start off really cool because they have this little static at the beginning of the logos, and I'm like, at first I was like, oh, what's wrong with my TV? And then I was like, oh no, okay, they're doing that. Okay, that's pretty cool. And then they go into Bond.
For real.
They they got Bond playing cards. It's literally a James Bond film. You've got the opening sequence pre-title with the title sequence, like the silhouette and a Bondish kind of theme and whatever. And it's full blown just James Bond, but it's Richard Dragon.
I'm here for it though. I thought it was cool.
Yeah, what we've been doing lately, we haven't been uploading these. I've got one of them scheduled for at least right for the
Right.
15th right now, but we've been watching the old Bond films, and we're doing a series here. It's called A Review to a Kill. So we've currently, at this time that we're recording this Batman review, we just got done watching and reviewing a view For Much with Love. So I'm firmly in this Bond mindset as it is, and they start off and it's like, that's Sean Connery playing cards and that's James Bond, and it's a James Bond opening sequence, and
It's pretty
then
great. I'm not gonna lie. It's pretty fucking cool.
they show Bond Island, which we'll get into this when we get into The Man with the Golden Gun, but there is an island that I cannot pronounce, I'm sure, in Hong Kong, and I'm pretty sure it's Hong Kong. Actually, now I'm not 100%. Might be, no, it's Thailand. That's what it is. Um, that became so popular because of its inclusion in The Man with the Golden Gun that they just referred to it as James Bond Island. So I'm
I
like,
like it.
I'm pretty sure that they showed a shot of that. It's like at the beginning of the movie after the title sequence where they've got like a series of islands. I'm like, if that's not supposed to be James Bond Island, it's definitely a reference to it. So they are very pro Bond in this. And at the beginning of this, I'm thinking, oh, that's awesome. We're going to get a Batman as James Bond kind of thing. But then, of course, it's Richard Dragon instead. And then we start getting into like Homeboy Eats a Mouse. And you got snake people. And I'm like, I'm not liking this as much.
Okay, so when he ate the mouse, I audibly said, "What the fuck?" I was like, "All right, fuck it." Like, it's over. The guy ate a fucking mouse. Um, I enjoyed the dance for me line. I'm sorry. I just thought it was like Bond villain. It really, I was like, I want to see more of that when I watch these James Bond films.
I there's like no scene in any of these Bond films where one of them eats a mouse. So
I'm glad that they don't eat the mouse, but like the idea of a smooth talking villain says, "Okay, we're done here," and then he puts the girl in like a secret chamber and then fills the room with snakes and just says, "Dance for me," feels very Bond villain, and that's not what I came to Batman Soul of the Dragon for, but
yeah,
I got it anyway.
I like that they used Silver St. Cloud for all of 20 seconds, because they never really use Silver St. Cloud. So if he's gonna have a girlfriend or a fiance or whatever they want to constitute those two,
I
yeah,
have
sure, use
never
her.
in my life wanted a cheeky, and I realized that love conquers all ending more. I wanted something in this movie for Bruce because Bruce didn't need to be here,
Not at
and
all.
I wanted Bruce to need to be here.
If you replace Bruce Wayne / Batman in this movie with any other similar character from DC, the movie doesn't change. Like, this could have been... let me try to think about some other characters that are like the martial arts side of things. You couldn't really go with like a heroic thing. Actually, you know what? You don't even need the character at all. Because really, there's nothing that Bruce does in this movie that serves a purpose. Like, Richard Dragon goes to see Bruce because he's like, hey, they got the sword or they got the gate. And Bruce just says, well, let's go see Shiva. And Shiva's like, hey, I've got the sword, but that they just stole, so let's go after that. And then they say, let's go get Ben, and then let's go fight them. It very easily could have just been Richard Dragon goes to see Shiva, and then Richard and Shiva go to see Ben. You cut Batman out, it doesn't change anything about this movie.
Changes how many people would watch it.
Yeah, that's the only difference. If it would have been Richard Dragon, Lady Shiva, Bronze Tiger, and the Funky Bunch, it wouldn't have been as marketable.
All right. Listen here, pal. The Funky Bunch name. I like Mark Wahlberg. I think he's fucking great. He needs to retire that name and just give it to this crew because this was just so outlandish. None of this. I don't even really know where to begin talking because I feel like we could begin anywhere and it all leads to the same point, which is none of this matters. None of it.
Yeah.
Like there's snake people and Bruce is training in martial arts that is not the League of Assassins and Ra's al Ghul. I prefer the League of Assassins, by the way. There's an old man who's kind of fun-loving and also a bit sadistic in that he wanted to see Bruce get his ass kicked for no reason. Yeah. This is like a straight to DVD film from the 90s that I probably would have loved as a kid, except for, the blood and the cursing. But I just didn't need it.
One of the big positives that I do have about the movie, though, is I liked O-Sensei.
He's a fine character. I just nah, Bruce, you're better than this.
Yeah, I did kind of want Bruce to be like, you know what, I'm kind of done training at Nanda Parbat. I'm going to go train with like the League of Assassins or something instead. But I liked moments like, the door of destiny is always open if you are brave enough to walk through it. Now shut the door before you let the heat out. And
I did enjoy that line.
Ben Turner came here to work on controlling his anger, and he beats the shit out of the, I don't know what you would call the little training thing, and then he's like, oh, we're still working on that.
I enjoyed the focus on others, or focus on yourself before you focus on others.
I like the stone. Like you break the stone, there's going to be pebbles, then there's going to be sand, evil's going to remain. I like that.
We're going to remember that one. Write it down and actually send it to me because we're going to need to use that a whole lot this year, I feel like. I have a slight feeling that we might need that one this year. Great. That was the best part of the movie because Bruce beating the shit out of the stone after everybody gave up, after Shiva one hit and was like, all right, I see where this is going. I'm done here.
Yeah, and this whole this group that they had. So there's Richard Dragon, Lady Shiva, Ben Turner, Bruce, Jade, and I'm blanking on the other guy's name. Because he's not a character that I'm familiar with at all. Rip, I think they had said.
Yeah.
But I'm still just kind of like, I don't remember who that was. it's weird. They've been there long enough that it's like, oh, I don't even remember when this guy came to train and whatever. Yet it seems like Bruce is on the same level as them for the training courses at the same time. That's kind of weird. It's Ben is definitely a superior to Bruce as far as been there longer, been training longer, whatever, and he has that scene about the rice with Bruce getting a little
Well,
bit more of the
let's call
rice.
a spade here. They're all fucking superior to Bruce to the point where that was referenced in the movie. That, oh, Bruce, you were never that good. You were always the least skilled. It's like, this is not what I come to a fucking Batman film for.
Yeah, I want a Batman film that's called Batman Soul of the Dragon to be about Batman being the main character, and he doesn't have to win every fight, but maybe make it to where like he's the guy who's like the best because he's Batman. Batman's Batman.
You know, there's always the thing of who would win a fight between Superman and Batman? Batman. You know why? Because it doesn't matter because he's always 5 steps ahead.
Because he's the goddamn Batman.
This movie made it seem like, hey, we're gonna make you think he's 5 steps ahead, but actually, everybody's already way ahead of him. Richard just knew how to get to the back computer. Uh, Shiva was just like, "Oh, you're the Batman." I hated it. Like, the more I'm like talking about it, the more I'm like, I really think I dislike this movie.
Now, I don't mind also as well, for instance, Lady Shiva's pretty much always been one of, if not the number one fighter in DC. Now, Richard Dragon's supposed to be one of them too. So, okay, like, I don't know how far high up Bronze Tiger ranks. I know that, like, for instance, they always do the whole thing where it's like Lex Luthor is pretty much the smartest. And number 2, if I remember correctly, is Mr. Terrific, and then it's Batman. Or it could be somebody, I don't know, it's somewhere around that. Reed Richards is always like pretty much the number 1 smartest in Marvel, and Amadeus Cho's in the mix and whatever. So they do the whole thing. Batman's like one of the best fighters in DC by far, but he's still going to get his ass kicked by Lady Shiva. And I'm cool with that. She's consistent. And I would be fine with a movie where Lady Shiva is still higher up on the martial arts scale than Batman. But when Bruce is just sort of kind of adult in the movie, like, he doesn't do anything better than anybody else. Everybody knows his identity. His money doesn't really get them anywhere. They're like, put on the suit, you idiot. Like, that kind of thing.
Put on your fucking Halloween mask, you turd. Let's go.
I didn't like that. And
Okay, so bear with me here. I'm gonna go on a bit of a journey. You know why I hated live action Justice League film? Is Batman was treated like an absolute tool. He was like, "Oh, Bruce, you're a douchebag who just tries to use his money to get everywhere, and you know, Diana's gonna call you out on fucking everything and make you look like even more of a tool. And then, oh, you're having trouble with these guys? Hey, Clark, come here. Take care of this in 5 seconds." I don't like films that completely disrespect and disregard the Batman. This was one of those films.
yeah. There's good moments. I like, for instance, Shiva saying that if she had a time machine, she would toss Hitler's bassinet in a volcano. Like, goddamn, all right.
I feel that,
It's a step above what I would expect somebody would say, though. It's the whole like, oh, would you go back in time and stop Hitler? Yeah, toss him in a volcano when he's gonna bassinet. Okay, you know. But I liked that moment. I liked the idea that, like, well, I don't even know if I really go that far to say I really like that part, but like, I liked when they first showed Batman and the criminals were afraid of him and whatever, but they didn't follow it up with anything because it was just like, hey, remember that Batman's a thing? All right, well then we'll get to that at the end. And at the end, he's just wearing the costume for no reason. So
And he gets his ass kicked, and Richard has to do all the work.
yeah, so
The only time he even remotely acts like Batman is in the final 60 seconds of the film when everybody's arguing about who should sacrifice themselves, and Batman just goes.
yeah, and he's already been doing it. That's Batman. But they have to end that on a weird ass note too, because they just go to the other dimension and they're like, okay, well, let's just like fight the demon. That demon's gonna fucking kill you. That demon in human form nearly killed all of you. And now you're beat to shit and you're trapped in another dimension. And it just ends like as if it's supposed to be like this hokey, funny, whatever. I just thought that was dumb.
Yeah, we're stronger together. Go, go, Power
Yeah.
Ranger. Ah,
Like, I get that they weren't going for the most serious tone.
should have been. It
And
was a rated R film. You could have done so much shit.
but that's not how I would have ended this at all. I wouldn't have written a lot of the movie the way that it was written, but like to me, at the very least, it deserved to have an ending of maybe something like Richard Dragon is starting the new school. He's going to be the new sensei. And okay, well, now that we're going back to whatever we're doing, Shiva's like, I'm going to be watching out for the Batman. And Batman's like, I'm going to take you down, bitch. Like, kind of thing. Like, and I don't know about Ben because here's another thing I didn't like about it. So Bruce goes to Nanda Parbat and everybody else has been training. Everybody's better than him and everything. And he becomes Batman, I guess, just whatever time passes because the passage of time is really weird. There's a character that's a little kid and then he's like a 30-year-old. So I don't know what's supposed to happen
Yeah,
with that. Yet Bruce is, I
yeah.
guess, supposed to be only like 20 something. And there's a whole thing with Ben where he's like, I just decided to be this vigilante and they called me the Bronze Tiger and I was looking into this. And I'm like, oh, so you're Batman before Batman.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So he couldn't even be Batman the best because Bronze Tiger was the best Batman. Lady Shiva's the better fighter. Bronze Tiger's the better Batman. Richard Dragon is the better like kung fu type of martial artist. What's Bruce good at? Not keeping a girlfriend
And money.
or an identity.
Yeah, they disrespected the Batman. Thumbs down. Thumbs down.
Yeah,
I
the more
think
I'm talking about this, the more I'm disliking it too. And it's a shame because there is fun elements to it. I did enjoy some stuff here and there, but it's just not a solid. You know what this would have been better as? A 30-minute episode of like a what if type of thing where it's instead of trying to get like a full plot in there, it was just sort of like Richard Dragon and Bronze Tiger and Lady Shiva pop up during a Batman the Animated Series episode. And he's like, yeah, I trained with all these people and they take down Snake Dude, whatever his name was.
nope, because Batman still has to win.
Oh, that would have been if it's Batman the Animated Series, he'd be the one that stops him at the end. You
And it would
know?
have been so much better. Tell me I'm wrong.
Yeah, it's just it would have been. And then we could have been like, hey, that's a kind of fun episode. Sort of like the episode of the Justice League where they're kids.
Right.
And that's one of my favorite episodes. Love that one. Morgan Le Fay and all that.
I just I wish this would have been a straight to DC Universe or HBO Max. I don't know if I could advise the Batman fandom to pay money for this one.
Oh, I'm gonna
They
flat out say don't.
they
Just
disrespected the Bat. Like, what are you doing?
yeah, this this would have been easier to swallow if they wouldn't have had Bruce in the movie at all. And if it would have just been Richard Dragon or just like DC Soul of the Dragon or something. But people wouldn't have paid attention to it. That's a shame. Because people don't even pay attention to things that are like Green Arrow or whatever, you know?
All right, what's the next one? Like, what's the next DC animated film? I know they're doing a Long Halloween at some point this year. Can we get that now? I'd like that now. Thank you.
So the next one is Justice Society World War II.
All right, that sounds like fun.
I'm not looking forward to that.
Why?
So just looking at the names of this, it's as I expected it would be. It's just the hokey, old-timey World War II type stuff. So it's Hawkman and Jay Garrick Flash and Dr. Fate and Hourman. I don't like the Justice Society.
Doesn't mean it can't be good though.
It could be. I'm not expecting too much out of that. Batman Long Halloween though, that's gonna be better.
Hey, they were the greatest generation, Tony. The greatest.
Sure they were. That's got a couple decent people in the cast though. Matt Bomer is gonna be the Flash. Stana Katic, I don't know. She was in that Nathan Fillion TV show where he's like a writer and he's working with a cop.
Oh, I'm sorry. You said Nathan Fillion. All I could think of was Firefly.
Blanking on the name of the show. I've only seen like one episode of it. She's a Bond girl, actually. Kind of.
Well,
and this one, even the cast itself, like, there's people that I was like, oh, who is this? That must be someone that I know. And not many people. Jamie Chung is in the movie. She's a name I know. Most importantly, Kelly Hu is...
Who? Sorry, I'm sorry.
She's on first. She's Lady Shiva. I'm a big fan of Kelly Hu. And Michael Jai White is Brown's Tiger.
Who's Dennis O'Neil? That they said, you know, rest in peace.
Oh, he's from the comics and everything.
Ah.
Danny O'Neill's like one of those, you know, like Stan Lee, Jack Kirby, Bob Kane, all those.
Yes.
Yeah, Danny O'Neill.
Yes, I remember when he passed away now.
Who did the voice of Batman in this? I'm trying to find that. David Giuntoli. It was just another name. Like, I don't know.
If Kevin Conroy is still alive,
he is.
You need to use this man. I know he's still alive. I'm saying, like, when he dies, that's I'm taking the week off.
It's just a shame that this wasn't as good as it could have been, because this really could have been a fun, different. Well, it is fun in some ways, and it is different. I don't want to say like that. It's
different in some ways, but ultimately,
just not all that great.
It's not.
If it would have been fun and different and good, then that's a different story. But instead, it's fun and different and falls apart.
Like when you're almost like when you're trying to, like, you've been in a long relationship and you're trying to overcorrect or just like a palate cleanser, and you're like, oh, but this will be fun and different, and you're just like, well, it was those things, but it wasn't good.
Yeah, I can say without a doubt this is going to be one of the ones that I don't revisit.
You've disgraced the Batman, and for that I can't forgive you.
So I'm glad that this wasn't one of those ones that we decided to do a live fan track thing on.
I think it would have been more fun because we would have just been like, all right, let's go. Oh, well, what the fuck is it? Like, you know, I think we would have had fun with it.
I got a feeling I would have been trying to process it better. I would have been more like, let's see where this is going. Let's whatever. And then at the end would have just been like, oh, God damn it. God damn it. Really? Because that's how I felt here. I started off as very cool. This is a James Bond film is my first note, other than static at the start got me. And then it just starts diving into what the fuck, Ben Turner is Batman, and not enough Batman in this. No ending. God damn you. Like different notes like that were just not a great film. Superman Man of Tomorrow was so much better.
Yeah. At this point, I would even do year one. Do a movie on Gordon, for God's sake. Do lots of things. Just don't do this again.
I'm trying to think of some other stories that they haven't adapted. That would be kind of good. They never did No Man's Land. That could be fun.
It's still very new in terms of the comics, but Dark Knight's Metal, Batman Who Laughs, and Three Jokers have to be made into animated films.
Three Jokers for sure. I haven't checked out Metal. Even just things like Infinite Crisis. I'd like to get into some of that stuff.
By the way, where the fuck is the Injustice film?
What
Where
Injustice
is it?
film?
The any film on the Injustice storyline?
Oh, I thought you meant like the Injustice League or something.
No, like the Injustice.
Yeah, they should do a movie based off of that. Maybe that's
I
like a
mean,
rights thing with the games.
you could pull in a lot of numbers. Let me tell you something. You could probably throw that in the theaters. Animated. Has to be animated. I will stake my claim on this right now.
Yeah,
Has to be an animated film. You can do so much more justice to the story in that way.
or Injustice.
You can do so much justice to Injustice.
No, they could get away with doing that in theaters for sure. Like the Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. That did a shit ton of money.
And like there's a generation of kids. Not saying I like it, but there's a generation of kids who Miles Morales. It's gonna be their Spidey. You do animation and you do it right, and good things happen, children.
And there's also a whole generation of people that at this point the Injustice games are like probably like a decade old, right?
Fuck.
How did they come out?
Maybe like 8 years. Oh wow. I think Injustice 1 came out around 2013 or something like that.
So Injustice, Gods Among Us. That's the first one, right?
Yep.
That's April 16th, 2013.
Wow, man.
So
I wasn't
getting
even 20 yet.
getting
Come
close to 10
on.
years. So a lot of people, that's like one of their ways to get into DC is that they were like, oh, I'll play the Mortal Kombat game with with Batman. And then you do a story based off of that. That's definitely going to get some people to tune in.
I think people would enjoy it.
There's got to be a good, like, they've done Flash, they've done Green Lantern, they've done that short of Green Arrow. I don't remember if they did a full Green Arrow. They've done Wonder Woman, they've done Superman, they've done Batman. I'd like to
Have they
see.
done the story where Bane fucking snaps Batman's back? Do that.
They didn't do the Nightfall thing, though. That would be a really good one for them to do. Bring in Azrael and Battle for the Cowl and all that. I'd like to see some more just random characters. Like, I think that I would have liked this a lot better if it would have just been a Richard Dragon movie. So give me, like, I don't know, I don't know what story you'd give me with this, but like, if they said, here's a Wave Rider movie, I'd be like, that's gotta be weird. Okay. Like, because nobody knows Wave Rider. I don't know Wave Rider. All I know is Wave Rider's in the background of 1 or 2 shots of Justice League Unlimited, and he's a time travel dude who looks kind of funky. Like,
So
cool,
here's
give me
what
a
I'll
Wave
say.
Rider thing. Give me a Plastic Man movie. You know?
You pull Batman from this, and I think it's a great film.
Well, outside
Like,
of the ending.
yeah, but even that, I think I would have forgiven if it wasn't a Batman film. You pull Batman from this, and to me, this is the animated equivalent of what Guardians of the Galaxy was. When Guardians of the Galaxy came out, I think the light bulb went off, and everybody went, "Okay, Marvel can do no wrong." Like they took this kind of obscure property, and now everybody knows Guardians of the Galaxy. With this, I was like, all right, DC can always do a good animated film. And the truth is, I would have loved this. Except I've realized they disrespected the Batman. And I'm gonna keep saying it like that because that's what the fuck they did. Eh, So, good movie, horrible Batman movie.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Is this was a lot better if you don't think of it as a Batman movie. But even then, I still just some of it could have been written better. So it's a thumbs down for me. As far as if it's a hit or a miss, it's a miss for sure.
Yeah, I'm gonna ultimately go miss.
I'm trying to think of what things I would say were a hit. Uh, I liked the Bond stuff at the beginning.
Dude, great since you were talking Bond. That gadget with the thumbprint is fucking awesome. I was like, is that real? Like, tell me the truth. I might be completely naive to this. Or do things like that actually exist?
I don't think so.
Where you can, because that was the coolest fucking thing I've ever seen. He took the man's glass, took a picture, and then like a little Polaroid of a thumbprint came out, and he was able to use it. That was so smooth. So,
What other hits would there be? I'm like a
as far as
sensei.
gadgets are concerned, I say this movie was shaken.
That'll make more sense later on, everybody. What would you rather rewatch? We'll get into this a little bit too. Would you rather rewatch Batman Solo the Dragon or Doctor No?
Oh, okay.
Since this is the first DC James Bond film, and that's the first James Bond film.
So I think Connery doesn't disrespect the characters. That's a point for Bond. But the acting is so poor that I don't. This because it's shorter.
I'd go Doctor No. I don't plan on ever rewatching Soul of the Dragon,
Three
but
blind mice. Here they go.
I will if they say that they've got a new Richard Dragon movie, or a Lady Shiva movie, or a Bronze Tiger movie. I will watch it
I'd
because
watch
there's
the
a
fuck out
chance.
of a Bronze Tiger movie. That'd be a lot of
Yeah,
fun.
I'd watch an Outsiders movie with Red Arrow as the lead. I'd watch an Ambush Bug movie, and I don't even know anything about the character. If it's a DC thing, I'm gonna watch it. Just if you're advertising it as a Batman movie, maybe don't make Batman the least interesting character out of the bunch.
Yeah, I don't really don't have people shit on Bruce. The whole fun of Bruce is 5 steps ahead, and you punked him out at every turn.
Any other thoughts you can think of? I think I wrapped up all the things on my notes.
Um, let's see. I did well, the white rice thing where Bruce gets his ass kicked was like really uncomfortable for me to see Bruce just not even stand a chance. Like, ah, not great, not great.
All right, yeah. Here's something I didn't like. They killed off Jade. Just killed her. Like you won't be Cheshire. You're just dead. And it's not a series, so it's not like they have to be like, well, like, there goes Jade, and you can't ever use her again. But I'm like, really, she just served no purpose. She was just a sacrifice. That's a shame. Oh, here's another thing. I laughed out loud at the stupid thing with Shiva cuts off the snake dude's hand, and another snake grows, and then it's just snake guy has snake hands, and he's fighting with hands made out of snakes.
Yeah,
It's like, this is so dumb. Like, why does he have snake hands? He's a snake, and he's just like, my hands are snakes. Okay, dumb. Didn't like it. I don't know what
yeah,
the fascination is with so many characters from back in the day being like obsessed with snakes. Like
they're
Serpent
demons.
Society with Captain I was gonna say Captain Planet. Wow. Captain America.
I,
Give us a Captain Planet movie.
you
They're not
know,
DC, but do it anyway.
I don't think we need a Captain Planet movie. I'm gonna tell you right now.
I would watch the fuck out of a Captain Planet movie because it can't possibly be good.
Are you sure?
Yeah, it can't. There's no way Captain Planet can be a good movie. I hope at some point I'm looking back on this podcast and going, wow, I can't believe that I didn't think that Best Picture winner Captain Planet was, but no, we're not getting that. I would
You
watch
never
it though.
know.
Somewhere down the
Ah,
line, we're getting some Daniel Day-Lewis is going to come back to acting and he's going to be Captain Planet or whatever.
I was I really would have enjoyed being positive about this film, but I can't. Like, it sucked.
Yeah. Unfortunately, that's the case. So that's sort of we could keep saying it over and over again, but that's kind of how we feel. Not a great one. Definitely wouldn't recommend it. I say skip it entirely. We already told you what happened in the movie anyway.
However,
But
if you watch this movie and you're like, "Oh, you fucking guys are crazy. Here's why it's amazing." Please tell us.
yeah, you could totally disagree with us in the comments below. I'm not going to delete them. Only going to delete them if it's just kind of, spam
If it's
something.
shitty, you know.
That the spam bots that say like wonderful video and have like a kissy face and whatever. Or
Wow, such a good film. Click my link for free
yeah.
Batman movie.
Yeah, those get deleted. Anything else? Even if it's like you guys are idiots and you whatever. No, I don't delete those. Oh, I do delete the ones that are like this isn't the movie because it's like yeah, it isn't, idiot. But like anyway, that's kind of it from my point of view. I guess we just
Yeah.
need to wrap things up with plugs. So I already
All
did
right.
most of my plugs. Stay tuned to everything else that's happening on Fanboys Anonymous.
Yeah, and I would echo those sentiments, and then I would say check out everything over at the sister site of Smart Out Moment, including all the articles and everything Tony does, including the heel and face turn list, which is his favorite. And of course, there's the Paul Heyman SmackDown podcast, where myself and Callum Wiggins travel back into 2002 and 2003, and we cover every episode of SmackDown where Paul Heyman was the head writer. That is wrapping up within a month or so, so make sure you get all caught up there. You can check me out on Twitter at DeFelice. Check me out on Fightful.com, on WrestleZone.com, on Dasher, on Dancer, on Prancer, on Vixen. You disrespected the Batman. I didn't forget. And yeah, it's a good time.
And yeah, there's other things happening on fanboysanonymous.com throughout these next couple weeks, months, years, whatever. I don't know. We are still recording. We only got done through For Much With Love, so we've got this whole series of Bond films that we're going to get through.
Damn right
Those are
we do.
being recorded and posted just kind of random. I'll have better schedule ideas in mind as like this whole month goes by. WandaVision is going to be a thing, so at some point we're going to do something based off of WandaVision.
Hear me out. Hear me out. Darkcast. First impressions.
Very likely.
All right.
So that might be on the Patreon, patreon.com/fanboysanonymous. And then we'll probably do that for the first impressions, and then we'll probably do on the YouTube channel like a full season kind of recap. And I don't know what movies are coming out next. Like what is that? I'm gonna look up my notes while I'm here and see if there's anything that stands out to me as what else is coming up. Movies to see in 2021. What's my list say?
Have that stupid 3 Bomb My song stuck in my head.
There's the Clarice TV show starts in February. That doesn't really look super great, but I'm gonna watch that. Coming to America is March 5th.
Shang-Chan. Oh, Shang-Chan. Shang-Chi.
Shang-Chi's not until what is that? July 9th right now.
Apparently Space Jam.
I know that at least as far as like my list and the way that things might change, I don't know. But I plan on seeing Coming to America, The Kingsman, Morbius. This is a TV show, but it still counts. Falcon and the Winter Soldier, No Time to Die, Mortal Kombat, Quiet Place Part 2, Loki, Black Widow, Free Guy, Godzilla vs. Kong, Ghostbusters Afterlife, Venom Let There Be Carnage, Marvel's What If, Top Gun Maverick, Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, The Forever Purge. It's a good year for this to come out, right? Space Jam.
Mortal Kombat. Really?
Yeah, it's coming to HBO Max on, at least right now, April 16th.
April 16th. Rumble. We have to watch Rumble.
What's
We
Rumble?
have to. It's an animated film. It's like a WWE Studios thing. We have to do it.
Didn't even know that was the thing. You have to remind me about that. When's that come out?
Not June. May 14th.
I might check out Jungle Cruise. I don't know.
I feel like that movie was supposed to come out 20 years ago. But
Yeah. There's the Suicide Squad. There's the Hitman Wife's Bodyguard, which I'm not going to probably do anything based off of. Ms. Marvel, Hawkeye, maybe Dune. There's Snake Eyes, the G.I. Joe thing. There's Eternals, Mission Impossible 7, Spider-Man 3, The Matrix 4. There's a lot that's supposed to be coming out this year. God knows if it actually will. And at some point, Batman Long Halloween.
How the hell do we get to December?
Based off of the way that 2020 went, very, very slowly and with a lot of pain. That's how we get to December. But we'll get there at some point. We hope we give you a lot in the meantime to keep you guys busy and keep you guys having fun. So thank you for listening to this. Hopefully you enjoyed this, and we will see you next time. But for now, it's time for us to geek out.